welcome back to Rolling Solo. My name is Adam Smith, and in this unboxing video, we're going to be checking out in depth all the components and everything inside of Zombicide 2nd Edition from Cool Mini or Not. Now, Zombicide always brings back a really great memory back in the day prior to even when the channel existed and I was playing the original Zombicide for the first time. Now, it wasn't a purchase I had made. It was actually at my uncle's place, Rodney Smith from Watch It Played. We were playing Zombicide with our family, and after that game, I realized, wow, there is a lot going on here with miniature games that I didn't realize inside the hobby as I was consuming games like Mage Knight, Lord of the Rings, the card game, and hadn't really dipped into the miniature side just yet. But that game opened up the doors for me, and I realized quite quickly that I do enjoy miniature-based games as well. So from that point forward, as the channel grew, I covered every single iteration of Zombicide and started picking things up. By that point, I had missed some of the earlier Kickstarters, of course, but I still was enjoying what had gone to retail. So this is really nice to be able to be on the train when the 2nd edition came out and be able to gobble up all the components for it during the Kickstarter. It's exciting because, well, the first iteration of Zombicide has come a long way to this 2nd edition. So now you understand just a little bit better as to why Zombicide holds a special place in my heart. Now, granted, Zombicide is not a complex game at all. Now, if you start adding in absolutely everything from the Kickstarter and having to keep track of every single Abomination special rule, then yes, after a while, those layers can actually add up to it being a little bit complex to just keep track of all that stuff. But if you're playing, say, for instance, this base game right here of the 2nd edition, the actual complexity of just this is not going to overwhelm you. And it's actually a great entry point into these types of games if you're just dipping your toe in for the first time. So I still, to this day, recommend Zombicide as a great entry point because it won't overwhelm you like a majority of some of these miniature games out there can do. Having said all that, I think it's time for us to dive into this 2nd edition, but first let's flip it over, take a look at the back of the box, and then we're going to check out all the components inside in depth. The zombies came from nowhere and destroyed the world we used to know. A few brave, ordinary people united and took up arms against the infected horde. These survivors roamed the city looking for supplies, payback, and fun at the zombies' expense. You are survivors. The past is gone. Choose your fate. Now is the time for challenge, danger, freedom, and friendship. Now is the time for Zombicide 2nd Edition. Zombicide 2nd Edition is a cooperative game for 1 to 6 players, age 14 and up. You play as a team with your friends as survivors, and of course you can play this game solo, controlling all the characters you wish, of a zombie invasion in a world inspired by action and horror movies. Zombies are controlled by the game itself using simple rules and a deck of cards. Find weapons, kill zombies, and build your survivors' adrenaline to unlock their true potential. The more zombies you kill, the more of them are coming. Zombicide 2nd Edition contains updated streamlined rules and materials from the classic Zombicide sets. Choose between 12 survivors, there's 6 adults and 6 kids, to build your dream team, going fast and loud through the 25 missions made using the modular map tiles. And that's one of the major points of this edition, is how many scenarios are packed in this box. The original Zombicide only had 10 scenarios, now you're getting 25. The first thing you're going to find when you open up the box is the Rules and Missions booklet, and it's worth noting for those of you that are unfamiliar with the series of Zombicide, it all started with the original one called Zombicide. There was a 2nd season, a 3rd season. Things also got added in terms of additional expansions during that time frame, and then it moved into the Black Plague time frame, I want to say, where there was the Green Horde and everything else, and then it moved into space, and then it moved into the 2nd edition, and most recently it now moved into a Western theme that's going to be coming after this one. So there are a lot of iterations, and if you're really just gunning to go after Zombicide based on a theme, you've got plenty of options. Let's take a look at the rule book and the mission booklet here. I'll show you the first couple pages as well as the missions at the back. So we got the chapters here all laid out. You got your game components. You can check to make sure you have everything you need. We'll be seeing a lot of this stuff up close soon enough. What I really like about this rule book is right off the hop, it talks about what changed from the original Zombicide to the 2nd edition, because as I mentioned, there's a whole bunch of other iterations of Zombicide in between. This will give you the greatest breakdown for veterans of Zombicide from the original one as to what's changed going into this. You don't have to necessarily read too much more beyond in the rulebook, but again, it's all laid out here for newcomers. In terms of steps to set it up, there's 10 steps on 2 pages. We'll get this whole game state ready to go. And then from there, you're learning the game. And as you can see, there's lots of illustrations, lots of artwork taking up a lot of white space. So the rulebook, even though it's thick and has a lot of pages, thanks to all the missions they've crammed into this thing, there still isn't a ton to get through. Now, once you get through all the rulebook pages, you're going to find the section that states missions, and that's going to give you the beginning of all the missions, starting with M0 and running you all the way through, as well as the pages for setup. And these things are going to get exponentially more complex as they go along. They usually start out fairly light, and then they start ramping up in terms of the tile usage and the objectives in order to win. And you've got a whole bunch of them to play with. Now, in the original Zombicide, things would have stopped right here at mission 10, but in this version, you're getting even more. There's a lot. Okay, and the game round summaries on the back. This is really what you need if you're playing the game and you're already familiar with it, and once you understand the differences between the versions, this is where you're going to come to say, okay, how does the player phase run? How does the zombie phase run? How does the end phase go? And then you got your target priority order down here. This is what you'll keep face up for the majority of the game. The next thing in the box is this compartment right here, which houses all the miniatures and player dashboards and a couple other components that you need. Dice are in here as well. We're going to open this up at the end and run through each and every component here. For now, let's move toward the tiles which are sitting underneath of this. Now let's check out each and every punch board and tile that comes inside this stack. I've gone ahead and opened up that box we saw earlier on, full of miniatures, player dashboards, cards, and pegs. We're going to go through each and every one of these components up close right now. And that, my friends, is going to wrap up this unboxing of Zombicide 2nd Edition from Cool Mini or Not. Let me know in the comments below. Have you played Zombicide before? What iterations have you played? Which iterations do you like or dislike in terms of theme or game mechanics? Are you interested in the 2nd Edition? Have you already picked it up? Do you already have it and are playing it? Or are you thinking about it in the future? There's all kinds of questions around this one. I'd love to hear your thoughts in general down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, keep on rolling solo.